Thank you very much. And as we talk to Tondeka Mabega, when we are launching this, sorry, our understanding as people with disabilities, what does it mean? It's about changing the mindset. How we can think about development. Because all along people have been using the word human right-based approach in development perspective, but now the new approach is leave no one behind. So in practice, what does it mean? So it means that in whatever we do, we need to ask ourselves, are we working for such people? Take an example. Our colleague from women's side, PWD. Yes, they are talking of women. Now, there are also women with disabilities. Are women with disabilities also benefiting from such? When we talk of all the persons, because they are also all the persons with disabilities. When we talk of children, or young girls, we have young girls with disabilities. So there are so many questions around this. The issue is about defining who is a male or who is a female. And who is that one? So that's something very important. When we talk about inclusive, we need to talk about inclusive male and inclusive female. So this also calls for issue of partnership. Take an example. We have an association with for the deaf. How can this association also partner with the forwarding to ensure that all people are targeted? An association for the deaf is working for the deaf. But also within the deaf community, we have women. Those women with, who are deaf. Of course, they have to also work under forwarding. At the same time, we also have the deaf youth. So also they can also lie under the category of young people. When we talk of the elderly, those people who are old, that's just our colleague Orachi was explaining. Also, we have also old people who are deaf, even children. So the question is, how are we planning ourselves to make our team together and partner to ensure that each person can benefit from such services? Look at the deaf community. There are two messages, both the local and the global leaders, but especially the international partners, and like UN family members, those international agencies. Our humble request is to always ensure that issues of people with disabilities are included in those development agendas. When you are planning, like Plan Uganda, there is a person from Plan Uganda. Then the issue of children with disabilities, how can they benefit from Plan Uganda activities? And there's so many organizations we could talk about. So when we talk of the area of partnership and funding also, remember the 17 goals they as listed in these SDGs. They need some funding to make it possible to attain them. Then, the national leaders, I have like 4 key messages. The first is the issue of to appreciate disability. Almost 12.4% of people in Uganda have disabilities. From the census, 2014, that's what it says. That's a very big number, which cannot be ignored. If you ignore that percentage, of course, they may not be able to attain from the leave no one behind Tondeka Mabega. Also, it's very important to acknowledge that disability is homogeneous. We have people who are deaf, those with vision impairment, albinism, little people, those with physical disabilities, those with mental disabilities. So how are we making sure that those people are not left behind in the totality? Like, for example, my needs as a deaf person could be different from another disability. If I want to go to school, I need a sign language interpreter. If I go for healthcare services, I also need to go. If I want to go for a job interview, I need to go with a sign language interpreter. If I go for introduction, for Anjura, also I need a sign language interpreter besides me. If I go for church services, I also need a translation, sign language interpreter. But the big question, who is responsible for that service, that cost? Remember, I've been all along as an individual taking care of that, paying for such service of interpreters. So, just assume we are colleagues. Now we are getting the same salary. We are working for the same organization. You're getting 1 million, and also me, Ambrose, I'm getting the same million. And both of us, we have like the same house rent. But on my side, I have another burden again to spend than what you are spending on. Because I have to meet the cost of a sign language interpreter. It means I have to deduct, reduce on my salary, take home. So, which can be so hard for me to make a saving, which can make development very difficult. So, how are we planning to achieve this Tondeka Mabega? On disabilities made a very nice presentation, which is in conformity with Sustainable Development Goals and the UN Convention on Rights of People with Disabilities. And if this bill is passed into an act, it will help the community also to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. I want to thank you for attention.